He sold his house to save his dying son. But the person who bought it was his own wife. Not to help him, but to prove a point. What happened next will break your heart. Stay with me as I tell you this true life shocking story. Kingsley Okafor was an ordinary man with an extraordinary heart. A 43-year-old father and husband. He had built everything he had from scratch, with blood, sweat, and sleepless nights. His 3-bedroom bungalow in Ajah was not just brick and mortar. It was the symbol of his dignity. He had no rich uncle, no politicians backing him, just his 2 hands and his God. He was married to Clara, a woman with beauty, class, and brain. But over the years, something had changed. She used to be soft-spoken, supportive. Now she was cold, calculating, and always quick to remind Kingsley of his failures. She lived like a queen while he toiled like a slave, yet she never offered to help. One day, disaster struck their quiet home. Their 7-year-old son, Junior, collapsed during school assembly. They rushed him to the hospital. After several tests, the doctor came out of his office with a grave face. Your son has a critical heart effect. He needs surgery abroad, urgently. If we delay more than 3 months, he may not survive. Kingsley was silent. Clara blinked. How much? Kingsley finally asked. The doctor looked him straight in the eye. 20 million minimum for surgery, post-op care, and flights. He needs to be flown to India or the UK. 20 million. It may as well has been 200 billion. Kingsley nodded slowly. Thank you, doctor. We will find a way. That night, he barely slept. The next morning, he sat Clara down. I have decided to sell the house, he said softly. Clara's eyes widened. Sell what? Your only asset. Kingsley, that's stupid. Our son is dying, Clara. She folded her arms. There are other ways. Write to NGOs. Do a fundraiser. Call your church people. I don't have time for all that. You know the doctor gave us a deadline. She signed. Well, it's your house. Do what you want. What Kingsley didn't know was this. Clara had over 75 million sitting across 4 bank accounts. She had built a thriving online business and fashion imports and delivery. While Kingsley worked long hours as a real estate agent, she had built an empire from the corner of their bedroom, but she never told him. Why? Because she believed a real man must never rely on his wife. She had watched Kingsley struggle to buy food for some months and said nothing. She watched him sell his only car and kept quiet. Now, he wanted to sell their house and she said nothing. The house went up for sale through one of Kingsley's trusted agents. But Clara, in her wicked pride, took it a step further. She used a proxy, one of her business partners, to act as the buyer. She offered the full payment in cash and insisted the deal be closed fast. Whoever this buyer is, Kingsley told his friend, they are a godsend. No stress, no bargaining, just payment. 2 weeks later, the house was sold. Kingsley used the money immediately. He applied for visa, booked the surgery, paid the hospital abroad, and within a month, he and Junior were on a flight to India. Clara didn't go. She claimed she was too busy with work. Kingsley didn't argue. His focus was his son. By the grace of God, the surgery was successful. 3 months later, they returned to Nigeria, happy, healthy, and hopeful. But when Kingsley arrived at his house, with his son in tow. His keys didn't work. The lock had been changed. He called Clara. She answered casually. "Oh yes, I meant to tell you. You no longer live here." Kingsley blinked. "Clara, what are you talking about?" She stepped out, dressed in a white gown with red lipstick and her hair in an expensive Brazilian wig. "I bought the house, Kingsley. Yes, me, through my friend, Grace. The house is mine now." He froze. You bought the house. You were the buyer all along." She nodded, smirking. "I couldn't let a stranger take it. I needed to protect our future." "Our future," he whispered, voice trembling. "You let me suffer. You let me cry. You watched your only son nearly die. And you had the money all this time. You are a man," she struggled. "I married a provider. Or so I thought." People in the compound started gathering. The security man was visibly uncomfortable. Clara's voice rose. "Anyways, this is now my house. I am the new landlord. If you want to live here, you will have to start paying rent. And don't think I will be giving any discounts." At that moment, Kingsley said nothing. He held his son's hand, turned around, and walked away. 2 days later, the story exploded online. A neighbor who witnessed the drama posted it on Facebook with the title, "A man sold his house to save his son's life. The buyer turned out to be his wife. Now she's kicking him out." It went viral. By the day 5, over 200,000 people had shared it. Radio shows discussed it. TV interviews invited Kingsley. When he finally appeared on one show with Junior by his side, people wept. One of the Nigerian's most famous billionaires donated a brand new house to Kingsley, fully furnished. He also gave him 10 million in cash. Another NGO paid for Junior follow-up care abroad for 5 years. And a real estate company offered Kingsley a job, doubled his previous salary. God vindicated him. But Clara, her story was different. Once the public found out, her business crashed. Orders dropped to zero. She lost her supplier's contacts. People dragged her online. Videos of her were turned into names. 1 week later, she received a letter. Her warehouse had been sealed by custom. By the next month, her bank accounts were frozen due to suspicions of financial irregularities. No one wanted to be associated with her again. 6 months passed. One rainy night, Kingsley had a knock at the gate of his new duplex in Lekki. It was Clara. She was barefoot, soaked, crying. "Please, Kingsley," she cried. "Forgive me. I have lost everything. I am sorry. I was wrong." Kingsley looked at her calmly. "You weren't just wrong, Clara. You were cruel. You had the power to save your son without pain, but you let pride destroy us. You lost everything because you worshipped ego, not love." Junior peeped from behind his father, then shut the door. Kingsley didn't shout. He didn't insult her. He just turned and said gently, "I forgave you a long time ago. But some doors, once closed, are not meant to be opened again." And with that, he walked back inside. Pride can make you rich, but love can make you whole. Choose love always.